A powerful and accurate shot is a huge asset for any club for NHL players. Consider the play of Shea Weber. This gentleman fired a puck through the net, and his shot presence from the point was so strong opposing players had to have a constant mental conversation. Oh gosh, Weber is winding up. Could I stop it? I'm gonna get hurt. Stuff it. They weren't ripping bombs from the point in the early days of hockey, not even close. For one, players used a straight wooden hockey stick. Goals were scored by moving the goalie in the net and then sliding the stick on the ice to make contact with the puck, a primitive method of scoring goals by modern standards. However, as the game became more popular, it began to evolve. In the 1930s, two-piece stakes were widely adopted in the NHL, which meant the blade was now a separate piece from the shaft, which was a big deal because back in the day, many stick blades would shatter upon impact. So with the two-piece, players weren't as hesitant to shoot hard, as they could quickly swap out their blade. And although there wasn't enough technology back in the day to track puck speed, it is safe to assume that it was faster. Stick technology did not advance much in the 1940s, but there was more interest in the game, which resulted in greater training. In the 1950s, after the implementation and adoption of the fiberglass wrapped blade, which meant blades were much stronger, goal scoring speed instantly spiked up to 36.5, and in the 1960s we would see a monumental breakthrough as hockey stick manufacturers introduced a stick blade made of fiberglass. And so, why was this significant? Around this period, players began to experiment, particularly Bobby Hall and Stan Mikita, who were still in their early careers. They were young, bloodthirsty, and hungry for any edge, and they immediately realized fiberglass had a peculiar quality. If you boiled the blade in hot water and jammed it into the bottom of a door, you could create a curve that allowed for more accurate passes, better stick handling, and most importantly, you could shoot further from a distance with a much higher probability of hitting the net for the first time in history. Introducing the slap shot, as this revolution led to players shooting about 30 to 50 miles per hour in previous decades to shooting towards 70 miles per hour, and there were even rumors that Gordie Howe took a wrist shot that clocked in at 105.4 miles per hour. I mean, look at Gordie Howe. Back in the day, the guy was a beast, and there are stories that Bobby Orr took a slap shot at 118 miles per hour. Experts considered these numbers to be unrealistic given the stick technology and the technologies utilized to track these injections. Nonetheless, the invention of the curved blade would instantly change the entire game of hockey, not just in shot speed, but also in goal output, with the scoring leader's goal production increasing from 42.5 to 47.4. It's vital to notice that when large shifts occur, major breakthroughs in gaming technology occur. The old-time boomers weren't too impressed by a curved blade, but in the 1970s they popped off as we would see exponential growth in goal production. It would go from 47.4 to 63.2, which is nearly 16 more goals scored on average by the Rocket Richard Winner. And so now going into the 1980s, the hockey world was a different place. You'd undoubtedly begin to dominate the stick market by selling new lightweight fiberglass reinforced sticks, on top of the fact that players for the first time created curves to science, resulting in the average number of goals scored by the goal leader increasing from 63.2 to 74.8, which was insane given that this was the era of high-flying offense. But just as when goal production exponentially rises, solo defense, more specifically goaltending, became so much more superior because around this era goal equipment became much better. Goalie stances and movement became more efficient, and as a result it would see a drastic decline in goal production, as the average would go from 74.8 to 49.4. Despite the fact that goal production was declining, shooting mechanics and shooting speed were improving. The NHL All-Star Game was first implemented in 1947, and it was fantastic because it was the first time that all of the stars could come together to put on a show for the fans. But it wasn't until 1990 that the NHL would add the skills competition as accuracy, shooting, puck control relay, hardest shot in the goaltending competition, and finally we can claim our legitimate hardest shot record winner as Al Iafrate, who would claim the record putting a shot at 96 miles per hour. McInnes would win the hardest shot competition in 1991-92 but fall just short of the record with a 94 mile per hour shot. Unlike McInnes, you can help us break our own subscribers record by subscribing to our channel. In 1993, Iafrate broke his previous record with a 105.2 mile per hour shot, a shot so powerful that it appeared unfathomable that anyone would ever exceed Iafrate. even with the launch of the completely composite Eastern Synergy stick, which is bendier, but more crucially the introduction of a stick that can flex to propel the puck, nobody would come close in the following decade. The days of Iafrate and McInnes were over as the 6'9" mutant Zdeno Chara began to make waves, winning 5 straight hardest shot competitions. In 2009, Chara would do the unthinkable by tying Iafrate's record of 105.2 miles per hour, and the following year the Big Z would claim the record of 105.9 miles per hour, the hardest shot ever recorded in NHL history. And the following year Chara would break his record, recording a mind-blowing 108.8 mile per hour shot. What rational individual would want to take a 175 km per hour shot to the body? Shea Weber would come close with a 108.1 mile per hour shot next season. Stick technology has advanced considerably in recent years. Elias Pettersson would set a new world record in 2020 with a 102.4 mile per hour bomb. So why does this even matter? Elias Pettersson weighs 175 pounds when wet. Chara was at least 60, 70 if not 80 pounds heavier during his record season, which is incredible given that size has a direct correlate to shooting speed. So if Pettersson can shoot that hard, it simply indicates the players are understanding where to grip the stick and how to take advantage of the flex. It's why Austin Matthews' shot is so lethal, and if Pettersson can come close to winning the hardest shot competition, what does that promise for the future as sticks improve? Even though Chara is a 6'9" monster, there will undoubtedly be a new hardest shot champion with no cuffs on the gloves. And well, there was an AHL skills competition when Martin Ferg would do the unfathomable by blasting a 109.2 mile per hour shot. A non-natural player is now the world's hardest shot champion. Thus the question is, who will be next? If you loved this video, click the link on the screen to watch the most humiliating NHL records ever.